This is both Janelle's and my first time leading a open house like this. So we're going to try to cover everything, but obviously we can't anticipate every question since this is our first rodeo. So if you do have any questions, just unmute yourself, ask the question, or maybe type it in the chat box if you're not comfortable speaking, and we will answer it. So
yes, welcome friends. Love all these faces. I normally see
Melody.
everyone in their workout gear, and it's nice to see people in their everyday wardrobe, I guess. Is that what you say? How you say it? Loving it, loving it.
Oh, and there's Lauren. No pressure. We've got Lauren and Maria in the class.
Right. And
Lauren's
I'm sorry,
mad at us
I
because
totally kicked you out. Everybody in Burrito, it was my fault in case you were in there. It was just a quick break. You probably jumped right back in.
I was just trying to disrupt your number so EBC can finally make it in the top 10 list. So
yes, I'm right there with you, Leslie. That's going to be our goal.
yes.
That's my goal for circuit on Thursday nights.
They all came right back in. Like they didn't.
That's good. I apologize. It's my fault. Technology is not my strong suit. So
we all just laughed about it. It's okay. I was like, Janelle.
Anyways. Good. I'm glad you gave them who did that. I wanted to keep them on their toes.
Ruthie says that class is why she's showing up sweaty. We love sweaty. Love it.
Ooh, Melanie's outside. I love it.
Yes. Oh, look, Melanie, giving me a little glimpse of my beloved Eastern Sierra there. Thank you.
Oh, look at that. So beautiful.
All right. Well,
are we ready?
I think so. We can always, recap if anybody shows up late. So,
yeah. All right. Well, welcome. We're super, super excited. For any of you that don't know me, I'm trainer Janelle. And I have my awesome partner with me, Leslie. So I'm in California, actually. I think Leslie's in Kentucky, right?
Kentucky. Yep.
To make sure. Born in California, though, right?
No, born in Virginia and then lived in California for 15 years. So I consider myself a Californian mostly, but it's not actually true. So.
All right. I did not see, learning something new. I was thinking she was born in California in Mammoth, live in the Sierras before she moved. So we are, so I'm going to cover just a little bit about the details of the workshop or clinic. So we're starting on Tuesday, March 12th. It's going to run 4 weeks, all the way through the first week of April, which is April 4th. 2 times a week, 45 minutes. We'll start at 9:30 and we'll go all the way till 10:15. In that workshop, you're going to be getting lots of information, educational, as well as a workout to learn more about strength in depth. And then we're also going to include some mobility along with that, because that's an important part of strength training.
Also balance and functional movement. So
yes, balance and functional movement. The other thing, as far as communication back and forth, because like Leslie said, this is our first time running a clinic together and there's 2 of us. To make it simple and kind of straight ease with not too much information coming from 2 different people and direction, we're going to send out 1 email at the end of each week, kind of recapping what we went over in that week with resources and tools that you guys can dive deeper into. And then we'll also have a WhatsApp chat so that you guys can ask any questions and make sure you utilize and get all the information that you want out of the program, and us to be able to answer your questions. As far as equipment, we are recommending 3 sets of dumbbells, kind of light, medium, and heavy. Possibly if you have up to 20 pounds, it's definitely not required. No matter what, even if you're only doing body weight, you will learn through the program different techniques and tips and tricks that are going to help you progress in your strength. And You'll also want to have possibly a chair. We might be doing some chair exercises, or just holding on for balance. You know, even modifications if we show some alternative ways to work something. And then the final thing was a yoga block, if you have a yoga block. So,
I have
Leslie,
a question, Janelle. I have
Yes,
a question.
Lindy.
Okay, so I'm 76 and I don't have much muscles left, but I really want to preserve what I have. A 20-pound weight, I was laughing at you. I use 3 and 5 in sculpt and stretch, and maybe I could get to an 8 with you because I really need to build my muscles back up. That's why I'm interested in this, because at my age, I can't afford to lose 1 second
Yep.
more. So is this going to work for me?
Yes. So Lindy, that's a great question. One of the things that we will be going over is how to determine what weight is appropriate for you. And I think the thing is during this program, we're going to want you to lift weights that feel heavy for you. So when Janelle says 20 pounds, that might work for her and I. It might not work for somebody else. Somebody else's heavy weight may be 35 pounds, 40 pounds. I mean, depending on the exercise. So it is what we want. I mean, and you can do this, even if you've only got a set of 3-pound weights and you just want to go through this to see perhaps what kind of equipment you might need to buy in the future in order to start building muscle more efficiently. You can do this with whatever you have. But ideally, what we would like to see is a range of weights for you that is light, medium, and heavier. So that could be 3, 5, and 8 pounds. And also heavy for lower body exercises might be very different than heavy for upper body exercises.
Yeah.
So I would definitely not discourage anyone just because we threw that. That's just a number out there. And so, you know, whatever feels heavy for you or challenging for you is what we're suggesting. And we will be going over how to determine how to progress in weight from where you're currently at to where maybe you want to be, just, you know, reading your body's cues and things like that and how to do that safely. Because if you're only lifting, and I don't mean to say only, but if you're lifting 3 to 5 pounds now, we don't want you picking up a 20-pound weight. That's going to hurt you, you know? And so it's just whatever feels light, medium, and heavy for you. But if you've only got one pair of light ones, absolutely, this program will still work. So that was a good question. So I think, like, for me, just a little bit of background, I am an endurance athlete. So traditionally I have done things that are cardio based, that are long, you know, long distances, long time. That's what I love to do. But I'm in my late 40s and I've started seeing my body changing, and I'm starting to see that muscle loss that starts to happen at about 1% of a year, but is actually accelerated through perimenopause and menopause. And so I have personally had to completely retool the way that I work out and what I'm doing. And I've gotten a lot more into lifting weights, and I love it for so many reasons. You know, it helps your bone health. It helps your mobility. It helps your strength, not just so you can have strong muscles, but lean muscle mass is so important. It's more metabolically active. It can help you, you know, resist injury, resist falling, some of these functional movement patterns that we're going to be exploring, you know, having to do with balance and also strength. You want to have the strength to catch yourself if you, you know, trip. You want to be able to not fall, for example. So it really is a, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it's structured more to be for your movement, not necessarily for your physique, if that makes sense to anyone. But yeah, so we're going to break it down into the different types of muscle building or strength training, which are gaining general strength, hypertrophy, which is actually increasing muscle size, which is really important as we age, because you lose muscle mass even if you're gaining strength. And so we'll be going through, how do you actually optimize your workouts to build muscle instead of just building strength. You'll be building strength too. And then we will be exploring muscular endurance as well, which is mostly in our VFit classes what you're getting, those 1 minute periods of lifting, weights. That's a lot of muscular endurance. And so first week will be kind of an overview, and touching on those two types will include both types of hypertrophy and muscular endurance. Second week, we will be focusing on muscular endurance. Third week, we will be focusing on hypertrophy. And then the fourth week, we've kind of left open to see what questions you guys might have and where we need to go in that fourth week. And yes, Ruthie, I am watching my parents do that. Ruthie says she's watching her parents currently dealing with falling as a result of weak muscles and mobility limitations. And I think a lot of us are in our phase of life where that is our why for exploring, this kind of exercising. So, that's basically just a brief program overview. And then each class will be 45 minutes. We're not going to sit and lecture you. All of this information will be imparted while we're working out. So we'll start with a, 5-ish minute warm up. Then we'll move on to a 5 to 7 minute mobility and functional movement block, which mobility is not just your mobility in your joints. It is your strength through a range of motion. So that might use some light weights, or it might be body weight. And then we'll have about a 25 to 30 minute weighted workout, which will be, exploring the topic of the week, which is going to be either muscular endurance or hypertrophy. So we'll be imparting all of this information to you while we're working out, focusing on form, telling you what the purposes of these, different exercises, what muscles we're working, why we're doing it the way we're doing it, and then helping you to figure out, what weight level do you need to be at and things like that. So.
Yes, Lindy.
Okay, so ankle weights. I have actually strap-on ankle weights. Will we be using those? Because you guys didn't mention those, and I can do 10 pounds with those, but or do we need more?
Well, you
Or do
might
we
be
not
able
use
to
them?
use those. I don't think we're going to be specifically doing anything with the strap-on weights. But there are certainly a lot of exercises where you could use those. And we can try to remember to give you pointers on when you can use those.
So what will
Lisa,
we,
go
I'm sorry,
ahead.
so what will we use for weights for lower body strength?
It'll be dumbbells.
Oh, like
Yeah.
behind the knee?
Well, no, because we're going to be doing things like squats and deadlifts,
Oh, that stuff.
things like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Lisa B asked us, counting macros help with muscle building? And yes, it does. As we age, it's impossible to build muscle if you're not getting enough protein. So as we age, our protein requirements change, and we can certainly, I am not a nutritionist. However, I have changed a lot about the way that I am eating to help with this. And I have done a lot of research on it. And so increasing your protein is very important. And you're going to be at a pretty high protein level in order to build muscle, because, your body has to have something to synthesize into muscle. So your protein requirements go up as you age because it's harder to build muscle. So you need more protein to be able to do that. So. Anybody else?
I was going to say, Lindy, I also use ankle weights on my arms to increase length or to increase, pounds, because sometimes I can't hold heavier weights. And so I'll put
Yes.
ankle weights and strap them like water wings. So that's one way that I've learned to increase my strength numbers and, and handling weights without having to hold them, if that helps too.
Yes. And that is a good point, because when I got into lifting heavier, I am often limited by my grip strength. And so, I have pretty strong grip strength. I'm a climber, but there is something about holding, 30-pound dumbbells, even if you're not lifting them, like if you're doing deadlifts or whatever, just holding them, your grip strength will give out before your actual muscular strength. Well, most times. So that's a good point. And you can add those ankle weights onto your wrists or your forearms as a way to increase that weight without, you know, giving out on your grip. So Valerie asked, will there be any information regarding stabilization of joints and or balancing of muscle strength within the upper and lower body? Yes. So part of mobility and functional movement will be working with joint stabilization. For example, one thing that we talked about, and we have not designed the actual classes yet, so this remains to be seen. One thing that I had talked about was leading us through a progression to a Turkish getup. And so I love Turkish getups because they really work on core and hip stabilization and shoulder stabilization. And we'll do it in a way where we won't be doing the full Turkish getup probably until the last week of class, because if you're not doing it right, it's A, not going to work, and B, it's a lot of movements in one. And so we want to make sure you have the basics before we start to progress that movement all the way through. But yes, there will be a lot of talk about stabilization. Every workout will be a full body workout. I think what we're planning is a lower body block, an upper body block, and then a compound movement block where we will be working the upper and lower body or different body parts together. And a lot of what we will be talking about during that time is, why are we doing it this way? For example, cross-body deadlifts. Why are we doing it this way? It's because it recruits those balancing muscles, those stabilization muscles. It recruits your core. It works, your muscles in a slightly different way than when you do regular deadlifts. So yes, there will be information about stabilization and the importance of that throughout the course. Any other questions? Janelle? Sorry, I could talk about this all day long because I'm so passionate about it. And I also have ADHD. So when I get stuck on a topic, I go way down the rabbit hole. So I have lots of information.
I have a question for you ladies. What are your hopes for this class at the end of the 4 weeks, is it?
Mhm.
I think my hope
for us as participants at the end of the class.
My goal for the class is, number one, we were all raised in a generation when cardio was king, and cardio is very important. I mean, for your cardiovascular health, for your mental health. I mean, there's a million reasons why cardio is important, but we were not raised, weight training is new to a lot of us, and especially real strength building, type of weight training. And so my hope is that is twofold. One, that we can impart that knowledge to you to understand why this is so important for us as women to have this as part of our toolbox. And then also, like I said earlier, most of our VFit, most group fitness classes, all group fitness classes, just about, are going to have mostly muscular endurance. Whereas we're aging, we need to focus a little bit more on hypertrophy in addition to muscular endurance. So I would like to, and this will probably happen in that last class, show you how, if you're doing a VFit class, how you can adapt that for your individual goal. So if your goal is muscle building, to increase your muscle size, maybe it's to increase your, or not lose as many of your type 2, fast twitch muscle fibers. How can you do what the instructor is telling you to do, but do it in a way that gets you to your goal and not necessarily just what the class is doing? It's not just exercise. So that's kind of my goal. Janelle, what is your goal with this?
Yeah, I mean, mine definitely is for you to learn how to build strength so that when in 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, you are still able to do many, let's say, all of the functions in life that we need, getting ourselves up and out of bed, being able to get down up and down off the floor, still being able to play with your grandbabies or your dog or your cat, you know, and building your confidence that just feeling empowered to lift a little bit heavier, because I do know in our classes, it can be scary. I mean, I started weight training when I was in my 20s, doing CrossFit, and it really empowered me to push further than what I ever thought I was capable of. And so it's not about, you know, how you look. We all come in different shapes and sizes, but are you going to be able to get yourself out of bed and pick yourself up off the toilet and carry your groceries or go up the stairs as you age into your 60s, 70s, and 80s, you know, in life. So
Yeah, I have a question to
yeah.
kind of go on, because like Lindy, I'm in my 70s as well. So it's not like I'm going to build this. This is something I need to be able to be practicing. So my question is it going to be integrated into the course classes with VFit, or is it just
So
we're going to learn this and then we have to take it on our own?
I mean, Lauren wrote that circuit would be the best. Circuit is going to be the class that you would be able to self-modify the easiest to implement what we'll be talking about in this class, but also I have been pushing for Rochelle, because the exercise recommendations change as you age. And we'll get into this in class, but when they say that you lose muscle mass, as you age, that's true, but they've now done studies that show that it's almost entirely type 2 fast twitch muscle fibers that you lose. And that's why, and I love it, when I go to all of these endurance, you know, events, there's a lot of older people. There's a lot of women in their 70s and that are running like 50Ks and things. It's amazing. But our endurance muscle stays. And so I have really been pushing for Rochelle to have a HIIT and heavies class, which would incorporate a small amount of HIIT training and then heavier hypertrophy style weight training, which incorporates more of what is now recommended for aging women in particular, in order to maintain their body composition and their muscle mass and things like that. So, I mean, I'm just saying, if you wanted to reach out to Rochelle, I have been suggesting
I have
that.
no problem doing that, because in my world, you're going to teach me something and that's great. But as a
Yep.
teacher, you know that if you don't reinforce it, it goes away.
Yep.
If I have to try and do this all on my own, I
Yep.
could hurt because I don't know as much as
Right.
what somebody who has got some experience with this. So I would like to, if I'm going to do it, I want to know that I've got some place to go that I can practice it and build
Yep.
on it, develop it.
Well, and if you ever feel like, you know, waking up, I talk about this a lot in my Monday and Wednesday classes at 6 a.m. East Coast time. And so, you know, it's like a little mini, mini version of this. But I do talk a lot about how if you're lifting heavier, you know, you slow down. You don't want to be able to do as many repetitions. If you are able to lift a weight continuously for a minute, it's not heavy enough, you know. So yes. Oh, Lisa B has a good question. Will these sessions always be recorded? Yes, every session will be recorded and will be available just for you guys in the on-demand library, because now we can filter who has access to the different on-demand videos. So anybody who signs up for this clinic will have access to all of these classes in on-demand. So if you can't make it to one, you can take it at a later time, or maybe you just want to go back and review what we talked about because you have questions or, you know, want more information on something. They will be available on demand. Anybody else? Ruthie?
It's not a question as much as just a comment. Just wanted to say, like, did I send them telepathic messages? This is the kind of thing I'm looking for right now.
Yeah.
I've been learning, honestly, mostly in the last 8 months or so, about exactly what you're talking about, that we were raised in the generation where cardio works and that's what we need. And I had concepts about I wasn't interested in going to the gym because I didn't want to bulk up. And anyway, I've learned a lot about that. Starting at age 30, we start to deteriorate. Our muscle mass starts
Yep.
deteriorating naturally. And when you hit menopause, it like accelerates, the deterioration
really does.
accelerates. So I don't mean to be doomsday or anything, but like, that's why I drink essential amino acids now. Cause I'm like, I'm seeing my parents falling and breaking stuff. And I'm like, okay, I have a whole new why. And
Yes. And I think it's really awesome now. I think my generation, so I'm Gen X, and I think that we are really the first generation to be like, this is not okay. We do not accept this. And so you scientists better start doing some research to let us know what we need to do to make our quality of life better than what our parents' quality of life is. We want to continue doing these things that we love. We want to have a good quality of life, not just a long life. And I think that there's so much science that is becoming available for us, and especially for the next generation. It's just really incredible. That is specific to women. It is specific to women in perimenopause and postmenopause. We, at least Janelle's a lot younger than me, but I will definitely be talking about that in class. And some of the resources that we'll provide you are podcasts where you can go deeper into this if you want to. I have a series of podcasts that I love that's just all about muscles, and it's just absolutely incredible. I mean, you got to have like 9 hours to listen to it all, but it is awesome. And so we'll, in addition to what we are actually talking about and giving you in class, we in these emails will provide you with more resources where you can dive into this and expand upon what we're giving you. And also, I think Janelle talked about, we're going to have a WhatsApp group where you can send us questions, and we can, share more resources and things like that. We want to make it as interactive as we can, because I just think this is so important. And also for me, just so interesting and fascinating to kind of dive into the science behind it. Like, why are we telling you to do what we're telling you to do? Like, there's a reason. And it's all, I mean, it's not new, but it's pretty new as far as applying it to our demographic. So.
Well, a lot of the science, I think, has been in helping us live longer, which is
Yes.
great. But if we live longer, but our quality of life isn't good, I think that's why there's more education now. It's like, okay, that's great, we're living longer, but if we're living longer in hospital beds, maybe not so much.
Right.
Just not functioning well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm watching my uncle do that. I do have a question. Is this only for people that are part of VFit? If there's someone that's interested in doing this but is not part of VFit, can they do this as well?
They can absolutely do it. I do believe, and I'd have to reach out to Rochelle, I believe that there is a discount for VFit members, so I think it would be a different price, but this is not limited to just VFit members.
Okay.
We are limiting it to 20 people though, this first time around, just because Janelle and I have never done this before. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves. We want to make sure that we are, providing a high quality product. So I think if you do have people outside of VFit that might be interested, then I would reach out to them and get them to get in touch with us soon. Because once we hit 20, I think that's going to be it. So.
Would we send them the same link that I got in my text messages today?
Maria?
I know, I was just thinking, Maria, is there any way you can?
Yeah, so the price is the same for everybody. So we'll have to double check that with Michelle because I don't know the answer. But we will. How about one of you guys can stick with everybody that's here with the answer when we sign up for Michelle, and then we'll make sure the pricing is very obvious moving forward. So I'm not sure, but I love that you guys are thinking about other women who might enjoy this program. And you guys are crushing it, by the way.
Oh, thanks. This is our first open house, so Janelle and I were very nervous, but
you guys are doing awesome.
Maria, is it the same link that went out in the email today to sign up, or is it the same link for everyone, or will there be a different link for VFit members and non-VFit members?
That's the thing I'm not sure on.
Okay.
I didn't know if she had decided that, I don't know. I thought it was the same for everybody, but don't quote me. So don't tell your friends quite yet.
All right.
Slowly roll.
I'll get with Rashad. Just wrote that down to get with Rochelle and find out an answer, and then I'll send you guys a fit grid message, which you should all get, and then you will know.
And
I have
I'm
a question.
thinking it might be that we're offering it to VFit members first as priority, and then but then again, who knows?
I just added that to ask Rochelle.
Yeah, just add that, because that was something, yeah, we didn't really discuss. So Jenny, yes?
Is it going to be just for women? I know a man who is in the same, category as 76. He just started trying to do weight training, but doesn't like going to the gym. He'd much rather do it from home. Is it something we're just doing for women, or you guys
Nope.
are just doing for women right now, or is okay?
Nope, anybody can sign up
He's
as long
asking-
as he's not squeamish about us talking about like hormones and stuff. So
not squeamish.
I mean, I know my husband is, so
He's a fisherman. I think he is definitely not squeamish.
there you go.
What's the cost of the program?
Good question.
Has that been-
Maria. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can look it up real quick.
I know, I was gonna say, I think I
9
have the email.
99. 99 for, so 99 includes all 8 sessions, the on-demand, the WhatsApp, and the support of your trainer for those 4 weeks.
I'm in.
Me too.
I mean, I'm
I'm
very
in-
excited
I'm
about
in
it.
too, Lindy. I want you there because you're going to inspire me.
Yes, yes.
I will
And I
tell you
mean, any exercise is good, right? I mean, anything that you are doing that is active is good.
I was just going to say my doctors have been pushing to do this.
Yes, that's
Does it-
great. That's really good to hear that your doctors, because that's where the lag is in healthcare. And a lot of times, doctors who went to medical school many years ago, they're not taught this. And so it's really good to hear that your doctor is doing outside research and recommending this. That means you have a good doctor.
It's an integrative functional medicine,
Perfect.
so it wouldn't be surprising, but they are pushing it.
Melody, we will make space. We will make space for you no matter what. Even if you can only do the classes on demand, that's completely fine. You will not be taking the place of someone who would be in person. And, we will be available to you, outside of class time. If you have any questions that arise when you take the classes on demand, you can reach out via text, email, or by that WhatsApp group. And or you can reach out to Lindsay and have her reach out to us, and we can incorporate you and make you feel a part of it as much as we can, since you might not be a part of all the live classes.
Yeah, I was just curious. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay, I
Melanie.
was just curious because I've been lifting weights since I was probably 15 years old. And I've gone in and out of doing it, regularly. And I'm loving the VFit classes, but sometimes I'm looking for just a little more strength. So I was just curious to see what this was, if this is like more of a beginner type thing, or if it would be something. I mean, I know everything's beneficial no matter how, what your experience is, but how it would benefit me as like having a history of being a weightlifter. And
I think if you have a history as a weightlifter, you'll actually get more out of the program because, I really think it's for everybody. So we are going to be going through a lot of the basics, but like I said, we're going to be imparting this knowledge to you as we are working out. It's not like we're just going to sit and be like, okay, Melanie, this is, how you determine how to go up in weights, and this is proper form, that kind of thing. We're going to be doing it as we're working out, as we are doing these movements. And I think especially if you have a good range of weights, especially on the upper end, since you already have a good bit of strength, I think you'll get just as much out of it as someone who has never done this before.
okay. Awesome. So it's not just like you're going to be like, this is how you do a bicep curl or a tricep press. Okay.
No, we'll
Awesome.
be doing the tricep press. We'll be, for example, a bicep curl. How do you determine what's a heavy weight? How do you, keep your elbows in? Like, we'll be going through forms, but it's not going to be like, I mean, we all know how to do a bicep curl. We're not going to be, it's not going to be broken down to that rudimentary level. So,
Okay. I'm also interested in the perimenopausal stuff. I mean, I'm 45, but
oh yeah, you're
right
there.
around the corner.
Oh no, it's already here. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm 41 and my hormones are already going out of whack.
I know.
So we're hitting that perimenopause. We just don't know it. Leslie and I were laughing about that last week as she was telling me, I think she's like maybe a little bit older than me, but I was like, oh, all those things you're talking about, I feel like I'm going through them right now, or pieces of them are coming in. So definitely strength training helps balance those hormones out, as we age. So you guys have been great. Any other questions before we wrap it up?
Just thank you for doing this.
I was going to
You're
say the same
welcome.
thing. I appreciate you guys bringing this to us. I think the education is going to be really helpful for everybody and probably inspire us to keep going with this. So thank you.
Well, I am super excited to see this many people interested in it because, it can be very intimidating. It is not intimidating at all, but thinking about it can be very intimidating, and it's just so important. It just really makes me happy to see this many people even interested in learning about it. So,
And I'm not going to say it's not intimidating, because it is intimidating, and it's challenging, but we know that if we aren't challenged, we aren't going to grow. And that's why we're here. So I'm super proud of all of you taking that leap just to log in and learn about it, and come with your questions. I appreciate that, because like Leslie had said, this is our first time doing this. So we're, wanting to make sure that we're hitting what questions you guys have as members taking the course. So we might be tweaking some of it to fit more of the needs if we didn't cover it. I wrote some notes, so I'm super excited to dive in and to see all of our strength grow, and us grow as a team, and bring in those weights. I always tell everyone, pick up a heavier weight. If you're not exhausted by the time you're done, then that's a good thing. You can go heavier.
yes,
So.
Ruthie, gyms are intimidating. They are.
Mhm.
I mean, even for someone like me who has worked out since I've been in high school, and I go into our college gym here at the rec center, and it's like, I'm intimidated going to the weight section. So yes, this is a great way to do it. And you absolutely can do this from home. It might require a little bit of investment. Weights are not cheap, but you can do it from home where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And smelly. Yeah, gyms are smelly.
Is it strict dumbbells, or are you incorporating kettlebells or anything like that, or just?
We're going to keep it to dumbbells because most people don't have kettlebells. However, if you let us know, like you have a kettlebell, there's some exercises that are better to do with a kettlebell. For example, I can give you ways with a kettlebell to do shoulder presses that will increase the workload of your shoulder stability. As opposed to just lifting a dumbbell over your head. We can certainly provide pointers for where you could use the kettlebell, but kettlebells are expensive. I've only got one.
Yeah.
And so most people don't have the kettlebells. So I think we're going to focus on the dumbbells, but we can absolutely provide guidance where you could use, other types of equipment as well. Anybody else?
All right. Well,
All
thanks for
right.
being here. We'll see you guys all soon. Have a wonderful Thursday.
Thank you,
Bye.
you guys. Can't wait.
You're welcome. I'm proud of you guys for showing up.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Yeah, gonna be great.
Thank you.
Are you logging out, Maria? Oh, wait, there it goes. All right, what do you